Hi, everybody, and welcome to the RHAP B&B for week 3 of Survivor 49. My name is Mike Bloom here. A little bit later than usual, but as we'll talk about with my two fantastic guests, we've done a lot of celebrating this past week, both, celebrating love as well as having our hearts broken as someone goes home to celebrate love in a very different way. As we are talking about two boots here on Survivor 49, unlike the two boots that someone maybe could have worn in the water to prevent a certain outcome from happening. But we're going to get into everything going on with seemingly the final stages of the first part of this season as Kella officially gets decimated here. Of course, I am joined every week by the one, the only Liana Boraas. Liana, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. That's actually a good point. It does feel like the end of the first era. Like normally it takes the full pre-jury, but with the complete decimation, I think this is episode 3, a fitting end to the first chapter of Survivor 49.
Well, we're going to put this all behind us, and I'm very excited to be
Mhm.
bringing on a guy who is sitting behind me during the live RHAP event this past week. Somebody who, I'm gonna imagine could certainly talk about how loyal he is to Liana, much like Sophie did
Mhm.
with apparently every single person in her life. It is Pooya Zanfakili.
Mike, I am one of the people who did catch you laughing at things that you should not have been laughing at.
Me? I'm not the
Just
only one here, people. Okay, there was an entire room of hundreds of people that were laughing at this.
yeah, but I'm not going to snitch on myself.
I was also there.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited to be here. This was a fun week for me to be on, given that we got to watch it together. You know?
Yeah, it was a really interesting episode to watch in a room full of people because obviously
Mhm.
this is the most eventful episode, bar none. But that also contains, a man in a different world possibly dying from a venomous snake bite. And so there was a vote on top of that, though. There is some stuff to get
Mhm.
into there. But Liana, I'm very curious from your perspective because I do feel like no matter what the quality of the episode might be, there is this rising tide with hopefully no
Mhm.
secrets in it that is getting to be in a room with hundreds of people, hundreds of devoted fans celebrating this show. You got to watch it solo dolo. So, what was sort of your take in this isolated environment?
Not only did I get to watch it solo dolo, I watched it on a plane on my phone. So like you watched literally on the big screen. So for me, watching it alone, look, I watch the previews every week. I saw someone on a stretcher, okay? Omer had tweeted how dangerous this kind of snake was. Like I knew that this was happening. So for me, it was just kind of one of those things where you know the ultimate outcome, so you're just sort of you're just watching it unfold, right? Like I know how the
Mm.
story ends. So like we just watched that whole piece of it. And then of course you do have the Jeremiah boot, which I guess that was maybe the biggest surprise to me, was the fact that they did go ahead with a vote out for this episode. So that was really what I was kind of waiting to see. And I do feel like every single moment I was like, when is Jeff gonna be like, okay, you can just go back to camp? Like I believe that there might not have been a vote, like right up until he said it's time to vote.
Puya, what did you think? Did you like getting to sort of cram these two very different events? And I am wearing my Canadian tuxedo as well in honor of the fact
Oh,
that we
good.
did bid adieu
Respect.
to both
Oh,
Canadians this season in one fell swoop.
Hmm.
oh,
Yes, yeah, I would wear a red flannel, but we're still too close to Big Brother 27 that people might think I'm dressing like Vince. So I'm not going
I'm
to do
doing
that.
the
Yeah,
Vince.
Liana is wearing a beanie for those that are
Thank
just listening
you.
along.
This is true. Um, Well, okay, sorry. What was the question? Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Here,
brain
yes,
fog,
yes, yes, yes,
Puya.
yes.
How's the
No,
heat?
no, 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 no.
I
I'm
know.
back.
Starving.
I'm back. Here's the thing. Okay, so part of me felt bad. First of all, Liana, this is not Australian Survivor, so Jonathan LaPaglia would usually be like, "All right, go home. Nothing's gonna happen here."
I know.
But here, when you get there, 9 times out of 10, someone's gonna go. But honestly, and it feels mean or bad to say this, but it just kind of felt like, all right, let's just move this along to the next chapter. Like if we had no
Mhm.
elimination here, and then next week we see they go back right back to tribal only for this to happen, that would be 3 hours we're dragging along this
Yeah.
blue tribe being tragic. So at least we can now move into the next chapter, see what's going to come of the new dynamics, and get a little switch up here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Again, it's tough because to your point, it does come at the expense of losing people who the new era is proving almost increasingly the idea of just the luck of the draw sometimes being determined from the very first day, even beforehand, where sometimes the people that you happen to share a beach with, in many ways, will determine where you go. If Jeremiah and Jawan switch places, for example, where does he go necessarily in this game? I do agree with you, Pooya. I mean, I think the closest example you can think of is Survivor 46, where, listen, I think we at the B&B loved the Banu of it all, that we got an
Mm,
episode of it, but I know a lot of people, especially in the moment, were like, we got Randon's active god, Deus Ex Machina,
yeah.
numb arm medevac just to get an hour and a half more of an obvious Banu boot. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I guess to that point, Liana, the sea crate might have sped run Kella along a little bit.
Yeah, the secret was actually a paid actor.
Crisis.
They exactly, yeah, they actually extracted the venom ahead of time to make sure that it would be a dry bite, that he wouldn't get sick. Yeah, I mean, it definitely did, like, when we had been talking about this already for 2 episodes about, "Oh, what a disaster with Marianne last week." We went on, like, a long rant about how we're sick of the disaster tribes, give them food, give them flint, stop taking it away. So it almost does feel like the show heard, like, heard that rant. It was like, oh, okay, you want to be done with this now? All right, let's like fast forward this process. I think also knowing the fact that they're then going to do a swap also is pretty exciting. Like, it's unfortunate that it had to come at the hands, obviously, of Jake getting medevaced and, them getting decimated. But it's just exciting to see a swap in the new era.
Very true. Very true. So I guess we really do need to get into the most climactic part of this episode, if not the first three in general, in the
Hmm.
form of, again, this is it's wild. Like, this is wild. And I guess one of the, I wouldn't say bigger talking points, but I was intrigued to see that our dear old friend Sam Phelan and Omer, to a certain extent, had been talking about the fact that, like, on paper, this is one of the most dangerous things to happen in Survivor history. And I think people
Hmm.
have pushed back. They bring up he who must not be named, the firefaller himself. They talk about Beast
Hmm.
Mode Cowboy. They talk about Russell Swan. I don't know, Puya, where does this stand for you? Do you think the lack of dramatics means it's inherently not as dangerous as those instances?
Well, I do feel like Jeff really went out of his way to highlight that, hey, so this was a dry bite. There was no venom. However, the psychological factor here of you having gone through this, and also we're about to send you back into the conditions you had, means and you have a child on the way. We want to take the necessary precautions here. I felt like this is obviously, this wasn't Caleb on the verge of, death. This
Hmm.
wasn't other people like passing out unconscious in the middle of a challenge. This wasn't someone ripping their head open in the middle of a challenge. This was something that should have been scary, but also it's the way Jake delivered the line of like, "Hey, so this snake just latched onto me," and then nothing else happened. Like, and then it was just like a little panic, and that was it. So I'm not trying to minimize it by any means. Y'all, people know snakes are my worst fear, and I
Hmm.
don't. If it could have been a bite drier than this Reuben sandwich Liana had yesterday, I would 100% be like, get me home. Like, I don't care. I'm not doing this. So yeah, I feel like ultimately not as big of a deal as some of these other boots, but that's not to say that it wasn't a big deal, because again, I feel like Jake's story is a very, very huge one in that he mentions this is the last time my dad's going to get to watch Survivor. And this is how his story ends, which sucks. I guess there is
Hmm.
solace in that. Hey, dad, look, I had good control of this tribe if that snake didn't bite me. And then he got to see his choppy born. Like, that's a huge W as well.
Yeah.
So it's hard to feel bad for someone who has love, like,
Hmm.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, like, obviously it worked out. I guess you could say that, right? In the sense that he was able to be home for the birth of his child. So, despite the fact that he gets pulled from the game medically, like, he can still, see the birth of his child, which is great. I would say for me, the whole thing was kind of weirdly edited, and I don't know if this is because it was a dry bite, but Puya, what you had mentioned about Jeff being like very emphatic and saying multiple times, like, so even though it's just a dry bite, you still would pull him from the game. And then having the
Right.
medic guy like saying that, and then saying he said that sentence like Jeff did 3 times. He's had the conversation with the medical guy. He had the conversation with Jake. And then when he told the rest of the survivors at the immunity challenge, he was like explaining why it was necessary for him to be pulled. And I got to chat with a bunch of people this weekend about this. I brought this up a lot because I was just like, what did you think about this? Because to me, it felt like propaganda. I was
To also
like,
clarify, we were at a wedding this weekend. We were at a
yeah.
celebration of love. And
Yeah.
Liana's walking around making small talk by being like, so, dry bite, am I right?
Eh?
Wet day, dry bite.
I know, right? Exactly. It's my normal small talk I always go to at weddings. So yeah, I don't know. There was just something kind of weird about like how emphatic Jeff was. That it was like, you can just say that he needs to be pulled from the game. Like nobody's gonna question your authority. Although, and yeah, it did feel just like haphazard when it first happened, but I get because this is so incredibly rare that that they didn't necessarily prepare for it or like be set up for it, but it just did feel like very haphazard the way that it ultimately all went down.
Yeah, there was a sort of an interesting tonal shift to it. And part of it, I think, did come from just the way that people were approaching it in the moment, where you have like the producer being like, oh, hey, can I take a look at that? And again, to your
Yeah.
point, it's very casual, but also maybe, as what Alex mentioned, it was more so a more from a bedside manner of like, I'm just going to keep my voice nice and calm. I'm
Yeah.
going to keep things low stakes because I don't want to spike any sort of cortisone in your blood by
Yeah.
saying that you may be dying right now. And then smash cut. Is he breathing? Get the battles! Like freaking, Baywatch meets the pit matches, Dr. House in the form of Dr. Barry diagnosis coming in. And then even that decelerates where it's like, oh, he's fine. He's got the oxygen.
Yeah.
Like, he's totally cool. Don't worry about it. I mean, it is tonal whiplash, and maybe that's meant to represent, again, sort of where production was in that moment of like, but it does lead to, I agree, an unintentionally odd outcome in the pit of your stomach of being like, and this happens with really every medevac that, again, does not have a visual component to it. This is so bad to say, but like, I honestly wonder if Jake started like frothing at the mouth, people might be like, oh my God, this was so serious. Instead, it was like, oh yeah, you're totally fine. And then, of course, comes the umpteenth amount of questions that come in of like, well, why couldn't he go back in the game then? Why couldn't you put him in air conditioning for 2 days? Which at this point would have been like a 10th of the season proper. So it was a
Yeah.
no-go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it was just kind of weird, the whole thing, and it was like such a big chunk of the episode as well. I mean, understandably, it's not like they had a ton to show from after the immunity challenge anyway. So like I get why it ended up being so much of it. But yeah, I think that's what it is. Like from a tonal perspective, I was just like, how am I supposed to feel about this? Like what what is happening here? But it is sad to lose the shoe bandit this way. Like I never want to see anybody medically evacuated. But especially someone who is in such a good position within their tribe. I mean, well, who knows? That tribe gets decimated. But the point is it like I would have loved to have seen what Jake would have done with the rest of the game. And it's always sad to lose someone from medevac.
What I will say, the shoe karma is real. Like the fact that the bite was where a shoe would be is kind
On
of
his
funny.
foot?
You have to admit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what's interesting is, again, watching this episode on live audience, and Mike, I already alluded to you laughing. This was a very laughy auditorium watching this play out. And I think that should tell you what tone we were getting. Because if this was a life or death, like somber, no one's going to laugh. It don't matter who the contestant, no one's laughing. But it just kind of did feel like a roller coaster of, now we're very serious. Now Jeff has repositioned in front of the room, telling us like it is a nature show, what is happening back there. Now he's in there. Now he's saying, I'm here for you now. Like, it was just a little bit all over the place. So it is what it is. That being said, I genuinely mean this when I say the minute we have a new era of attorney season, Jake's going to be on that ballot. Like, there's no way they're going to cut his story short like this.
Yeah, I mean, again, I agree that it's just, and one of the other reasons why I think, again, maybe the room was a little more titillated is because of this idea that like this was so wild, right? And you kind of have to like laugh sometimes in disbelief at this idea that like it's been 25 years and it took this long, especially filming for 10 years in Fiji. And Jeff outlines how incredibly rare this is to get this man bit by this snake that would have killed somebody in an instant.
Mhm.
Like, they mentioned lightning striking twice. I really do feel like this is going to be, especially now after this season, like a once in a lifetime thing that we have seen
Mhm.
on the show. And there kind of is just this moment where, and also granted, obviously, all of us who follow social media know that Jake was alive and well. So this wasn't even a
Yeah.
situation where it's like,
Right.
are we going to watch a man die on live television in front of hundreds of other people?
Yeah.
What gladiatorial BS is this? But I think that it was this interesting balance of bringing in this incredibly real element into the game, while also, we should also mention, pulling back the curtain in a wild way on
Yeah.
the show. Like, we saw base camp, we saw the medical facility. You could argue we spent more time in that medical facility than tribal council in this episode.
Hmm.
No, that was actually going to be the next thing I was going to bring up, was how we felt about that. Like, because obviously we've had this happen previously, but never to this degree, right? Like, I remember that shot so clearly. Pooya, you mentioned Kayla, but like, when we saw all the like things descending and the helicopter and like all of that, like, I remember that being so jarring of like, wow, we're really breaking the fourth wall here. But for this, I mean, we went through several walls to get into the medical building. So like, we really were breaking down a lot of barriers there. So yeah, I kind of like, we needed it maybe from a storytelling perspective. And also, what else were they going to show in the episode? So like, maybe that was
Well,
why they chose to show so much.
I mean, we saw like this episode definitely was starving for content because we also saw the other two tribes find their bewares. Like, I feel like there was a lot of work put in when, and like, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure one of them was after Blue had lost and was
Yeah.
going to try. Like, we got that segment
Yeah.
after.
Which is also
So,
pretty wild when you like
Truly.
sandwich, like, we have Jake getting his game cut out from under him for no reason of his own, going home to see the birth of his child. The
Mhm.
abject devastation that Kella experienced, not only learning
Mhm.
this news, but losing another challenge with nobody celebrating.
Mhm.
Rizgod finds an idol. These three people are devastated as they must turn on one another. Like, what? Again, it's odd, disparate tones going on the island right now.
Mhm. And yeah, and the fact that the Uli one was after, like you said, as well. So it was like, oh, okay, like, what is happening? Because you're obviously devastated for them. Like, the shot of Jeremiah, Alex, and Sophie on the platform or whatever. One, when they find out that they're losing Jake, and then also obviously after they know they're going to lose because they're not going to get the puzzle done, was just like, God, you're just so devastated for them. And then, yeah, you have a man named Rizgod going out and getting an idol. So, like you said, very tonally different. Yeah,
Yeah.
now that I think about it, the more we're talking this through, this was a really weird episode of Survivor in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I guess to answer your question, I mean, I'm obviously in from a very different perspective, right? Because I look behind the curtain at
Mhm.
so much stuff. In fact, I can reveal I visited that notable room of the medical facility. That will be a story for next season, not this season. But I still visited
Oh.
medical, and it was interesting actually because I believe before this season when I went out for 49, that was my fourth time out on set. I had never seen medical before. I had heard of it.
Oh.
Obviously, it's all housed on base camp. And I happened to walk in there, some other people needed some stuff to get treated. And I was like, oh, this is a nice place. I had no idea how prominent it would become in my life, not only a month later, but several months down the line when it turns into a makeshift ER. And so it was a weird sort of like Leo pointing at the finger type of pointing at the finger, pointing at the screen with a finger type of moment of saying, "Oh, I know these
Mhm.
people. Oh, I know this place." And so again, I personally, I don't even say enjoyed. I'm always intrigued by it because as someone who knows so much about what happens behind the scenes, it is cool to sometimes acknowledge the fact that
Mhm.
Survivor is an iceberg. It's an iceberg out in the middle of
Yeah.
Fiji where you only really see Jeff, but there are hundreds of people making this all work behind the scenes. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, it takes a life-threatening situation like this to reveal that. But Puya, what did you think about it? Was it too much of a, as Liana says, not breaking the fourth wall, but more so removing yourself from the wall and going into another house?
well, a little bit, right? I feel like, I don't know. I just, this, yeah, I don't know if I'm being honest. I know that's not the answer you're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I think like I think it's always nice to be able to appreciate and understand like all the support that goes on out there, right? And
Yeah.
I think like knowing the fact that the contestants are taken care of, there's support systems like in place that they're ready to handle. Maybe now they have a better protocol if there were to be a secret bite. But didn't they like ask a bunch of people on the island? Like no
Yeah.
one was like, no one's gotten bit. It's
Not
never
o
happened
not only
before.
that, one of the many reasons why Jake couldn't come back into the game is that they still did have to monitor him. Like, the vitals showed
Yeah.
at this point there
Yes.
wasn't any venom in his system, but they still had to, like, basically monitor him for a 48-hour period to make sure there wasn't just, like, a little tidbit, a little skosh that was gonna enact itself in its system. And so they took him to a local hospital after formally removing him from the game. And
Mhm.
they also, this trained medical staff based in Fiji, had never met or experienced anyone who had been by a sea crate before. They had to
Mhm.
airlift him out to Australia, which is very ironic
Mhm.
considering that he lived there for quite some time. And, while he stripped there back in the day, this time I guess he was stripped of the possible title of sole survivor through this snake bite. But yeah, I mean, it like, again, it cannot be spoken about how it's weird to say freak accident because again, this was like an
Mm.
animal's natural bite. And also the weird thing is we don't know the circumstances behind it. I got the chance to talk with Jake and I asked him like, what do you think happened? And all he figures is like, I didn't provoke it. Maybe I was near a nest and this was the mama snake
Mm.
and this was like the getaway bite, considering that like this little shithead, when Jake is saying like, "Hey guys, come on over," and everyone is slowly freaking out, this asshole is just watching his handiwork by the sidelines, be like, "Uh-huh, yeah, I did that today.
We're
I'm gonna
little
Mhm.
go."
friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
I loved it. I loved it so much.
Mhm. No, because we didn't get like a good shot of that him actually getting bit, right?
Yeah.
So, and it looks like he's just sitting in the water. Like it didn't look like he went out and he was like poking something or trying to, like mess with something. I mean, maybe if he was, I don't remember if he was maybe like digging in the sand. So yeah, the nest thing could make sense. But I will say it was nice of the snake to stay long enough to get its picture taken. So then that way
Mhm.
they could identify it.
That's true. Is there gonna be now, like, wanted posters up around the survivor production camp, like, "If you see this snake, please
Yeah,
report it to the
please.
authorities."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's like the wanted posters and everything. There's a bounty for turning in the snakes. But I mean, of all the like it oh, the other thing that was very cool was Alex pulling out the book. Like
Yeah.
that was kind of neat to see too. Again, if we're talking about pulling back the curtain, that his binder of things, items, creatures, plants, I guess is what it was. Like it was like what's dangerous out there. Is that the whole purpose of the entire book?
Yeah, so basically, before the season starts, everyone is sort of trained through survivor school, where they're basically taught
Mhm.
of the Fijian flora and fauna around them, like what is edible, what is not, and what creatures they should or should not stay away from. And so
Mm.
that is available at every base camp, so the players can refer to it, especially early on if they're like, "Oh, I found this leaf." We see this episode, right? Like they dig into what looks to be like some unripe breadfruit that who would
Yeah.
have thought we'd have one third of this tribe gagging in the course of 3 episodes? But here we go. Alex joining the club alongside Nicole. So Alex just went back to that. And yeah,
Mhm.
I never thought in my life, if you told me, hey, there's a version of Survivor that has a 3-ring binder show up as a prominent prop, I'd be like, great, tell me more about Survivor Michigan. What's going on this season?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
and it's in the Survivor font also, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, not
Wait,
just
is it actually
sometimes.
is it
Yeah.
really? Oh, that's amazing. You have to be on brand. Like, they could sell those. I would buy one of those. I would just be very curious to see what's in the book.
I mean, yeah, do you think like it
Um,
would just be like a field guide in general that written
yeah.
in the Survivor
Probably.
font?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like yeah, field guide to Fiji.
Yeah, yeah, but
Local
why would
floral and
you
fauna
need the field guide to Fiji?
to learn. I love to learn.
Well, that's the thing is that I feel like, Liana, you're more so saying if something's written in the Survivor font, it feels cool. It feels official.
It does. It does. It feels legit. Yeah, the survivor font makes everything better.
So
So,
then,
or
like,
maybe
I
I
mean,
would take the sorry for you font as well because I feel like that's slightly different.
what I would say then is like, if you're some sort of like legal counsel or some sort of government body at this point, like, this is how you serve warrants, right? Like type it onto the survivor font, like put it in tree mail, right? Someone will be like, ooh, this is exciting.
Ooh.
What do they have for me today? Oh no, I've been served. Great. I have to show up in court. Sorry for you.
That's what I was literally thinking. I was like, this is how someone gets served divorce papers. Sorry for
Sorry
you.
for you.
Which, by the way, speaking of Jeff being a little menace, him at the immunity challenge when he was like, hold on, wait, I wrote it down. He said something that was like, "Oh, I'd like to remain optimistic, but that'd be foolish." So mean, Jeff. They just lost Jake. They're about to lose again, and you're
A
just
man almost
continuing to
died.
rag on them. Yeah, exactly. They're so sad. Did you see like Sophie's face was just like just like gone. She was just not having it, and Jeff's roasting them because he can. Ugh.
Yeah, it was interesting that Jeff's like, nope, we've all got a job to do, including me. I will not go easy on you, much like the game hasn't. Which
Exactly.
again, now as we sort of segue into maybe talking about the Jeremiah of it all, I mean, again, listen, do I like the fact that we had to do a 3-person tribal council because the circumstances and maybe formation of this group led to these abject circumstances? Absolutely. As Sophie said, this was not fun to watch, period. I will dispute the one part of the remark that she said. That all being said, this was an interesting dynamic. We
Yeah.
never get 3-person tribal councils. I can really count outside of like, the final 3 vote in the end game. I can think of like Oolong did it. Matt Singh did it. We had Ua do it in season 41. There's not a lot of other opportunities. And so there was this kind of exciting moment where you're like, oh, this could theoretically be a 1-1-1, which is maybe what Sophie was trying to do with the vote that she threw. So there was some interesting action going on. Again, maybe it speaks to the just wildly varying tones we had in this episode that, again, here is a guy who we tended to and tried to make sure that he did not, shake off this mortal coil in this very episode, only to shake that off and be like, okay, but here's Sophie hiding in the bushes, snooping on what's going on. She's going to turn on her number 1 ally.
Yeah, go ahead, Pooya.
Yeah, I feel like the intrigue for me was that Jeremiah and Sophie seemed to be working together, and this Jake leaving kind of did open the door for a very interesting 2 to go into the further game. But then Alex has the idol, and I think that is what further made it interesting to me, because I, as a big member of Team Sophie, was bricking it, was very nervous at the prospect of a final 3 where Alex has also vocalized not wanting to work with Sophie like that, only to also have an idol and probably the decision here of what to do. So getting to see someone navigate from the direction of, okay, my number 1 ally here doesn't have an idol. The one I want to leave does have an idol. I have no idol. How do I get out of this? And I think this person might come for me. How do I get out of this? So that way made it intriguing for me. But I mean, I think the number 1 most intriguing thing would have been if there were no idols, how that would have panned out. But I do think it would have been a lot more 2-1 than 1-1-1, which, we don't have a lot of results out there that we don't know what would happen in the event of those. Because I really thought, well, are we going to have like a 3-way fire making? Is that what's going to happen here? Like,
yeah, I was thinking about that too, because I was trying to think. So to me, I think having the idol actually made it more interesting, because I think if you don't have the idol, Alex just goes, right? Or
right.
plays a shot in the dark, potentially, if he feels like he's on the outs between those 2. So I think that is a more foregone outcome. Whereas here, it was like, okay, is he going to play the idol? Yes or no? If he does play the idol, then you sort of have this prisoner's dilemma where, if you're Sophie and Jeremiah, although we saw it more from Sophie's perspective, like, do you take the risk? Do you take the risk, or do you play conservatively to try to keep yourself safe? Meanwhile, I'm on the plane trying to be like, okay, how do you do a 1-1-1 vote in order to do a tie? So then that way, because I would guess if Alex voted for Sophie voted for Jeremiah, and Jeremiah voted for Alex, right? So that's 1-1-1-1. If Alex plays his idol, then he's the sole vote to evict, right?
Yes, I think then it turns into, you know, a typical final 3 scenario from the final 2
Mhm.
season where it's like, okay, he's the only
Right.
one safe. Jeremiah and
Yeah.
Sophie would have to vote for each other, so you're the tiebreaker.
Exactly. Okay, so then that's that case. But if he doesn't play the idol and you've got a 1-1-1, what happens? Do we know?
I would imagine that there would be a revote. I think.
Okay.
Like I think if we had a revote with the at that episode 3 in Survivor 48, right, where there was a tie there, like I think there would be one. And if it's still 1-1-1, then it would be like a okay, you have one last opportunity to talk about it. And if you can't,
Mhm.
if one person doesn't swap their vote over, then it's a 3-way rock draw. I think that would probably be outcomes measure. 3-way fire making would be very fun just because then like does the first place finisher then like go over and help the second place person, you know, to be like, all right, like, you got to beat this person, let's box them out.
Yeah. And then people get mad about it because you can't help in challenges. But I was thinking, I was like, well, if you could orchestrate a tied vote, like part of me was like, Sophie, maybe you should play your shot in the dark and have a 1-1 tie, because then
Okay.
that way Jeremiah goes, or Alex doesn't play his idol, and then you can vote him out. I don't know.
So
We were trying to do scenarios.
So I was thinking of this just scenario in my head
Mm.
of Sophie uses the shot in the dark,
Yeah.
Alex uses his idol, Sophie doesn't vote, Alex votes Sophie, and then Jeremiah votes Alex. Then we have no votes. Then what happens?
Wait, because Sophie
Sophie can't vote.
used.
She gave up her vote for shot in the dark,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's
And then
right.
the
I
two
guess what would
people who voted
happen?
for each other, those votes got nullified because they neither votes counted. But then by that logic, is it just Alex gets the vote?
Yeah, because he still has a vote at that point. Because remember, like again, we go back to that tie scenario in season 48. Mary couldn't vote because in using her shot in the dark, she basically gave up her right to vote at any
Oh,
point in that tribal council.
bro, that tribal council was crazy. I'm just remembering that now. Cedric lives rent free in my head. That man, bring that man on every season. I want him back in the returnee season with Jake. I just want
Just
to see
imagine them as
what'll
like the
happen.
captain of tribes. Like, oh my god, we either get the mad doctor or the shoe bandit. Who do we pick?
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that it was I'm happy that you mentioned that, Pooya. The fact that he was the shoe bandit and he got bit on the foot. That's pretty funny. I'm sorry. That's pretty funny.
Unbelievable.
I do wonder, like, is there something in the editor's minds that felt like they had to keep that in for that reason, right? Because otherwise, like, this is
Mm,
something that would ordinarily maybe be relegated to a secret scene. Maybe one of the reasons why
mhm.
this came so far out of nowhere, except for, as you mentioned, Liana, the preview is like, Jake probably, I don't know if I've been checking confessional charts, Jake probably has been getting the most airtime out of anyone on Kella up to that
Mm,
point. So on
mhm.
paper, it is pretty wild that dude got, I would say Ned Stark, but maybe it's more appropriate to say Red Vipered out of the game here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm trying to find the confessional chart for this season. I mean, I'm sure he got a lot, but I feel like Sophie and
I think
Alex
Alex has
also
had more
Oh yeah, because
than him.
have
Alex
gotten a
also
lot.
Alex found the idol. Alex has a lot of the the exposition stuff, right? Like
Mhm.
he did the face off against Rizzo, so maybe just through pure narration, Alex got the most. Maybe we got the most personal content from Jake, just because again he had two pretty big secrets that he pretty much revealed right off the bat.
Oh my god, yeah, yeah, he really did. It was like what in Matt chat when he did oh no, he did the other one on the island. The
He did his.
glaucoma one was the one that about his dad, right? That's the one he shared
Maybe
Matt
did
chat.
Jake have a premonition that he knew he'd only last like 2.5 episodes? So he's like, gotta get my storyline out now.
He was like, "You're welcome, producers." He's the producer. He knew what to do. I love that. Yeah, I'm looking. Okay, I pulled up the confessional chart now, and so in terms of like total confessional time, it is Alex that is leading. Then actually it's Sophie now after episode 3. Obviously, Jake didn't
Mhm.
get a ton in his own boot episode, considering he was, medevaced. Oh, the other funny thing about the medevac that was when Jeff was like, your tribe mates, Alex, Sophie, and Jeremiah. And I was like, why are you he knows who's on his tribe.
I
Why
think
are you
Jeff's trying to
reminding
really approach
him?
things with a soft hand because I don't think he knows how mentally addled this man is at this point. Like, obviously,
Fair.
I don't think he was hopped up on any sort of like tranquilizers at that point. But like, for all he knows, he's up on the goof juice, being like, "Jake, my name is Jeff Probst. You're on a show called Survivor right now. Let me tell you what happened."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, and I think the other thing too that I'm happy that was mentioned in the episode was the fact that they have been starving and not sleeping, right? So you have all of this undue stress already on the body, so to then go through something really traumatic obviously is going to have a big impact. But yeah. Oh, and then from the immunity challenge, so I'm looking through my notes of the weird things I noticed.
Yes.
So Alex's slow-mo jump into the water, was that a big hit in the theater? Because it was a big hit on the plane because it's like so slow and he's just like as he like jumps into the water. He makes the weirdest face. It was hilarious. I don't know why they did it, but it was perfect.
Again, I mean, they need to pad the episode out, but yeah, I
Yeah.
do love that as well. That nobody looks good in slow mo. Very few do, I should say. I don't want to put everyone necessarily in a bucket. And yeah, poor Alex fighting for his life here. And if he got voted out with an idol in his pocket, maybe even the more even embarrassing thing was that the gif we would remember him by is him slowly jutting his jaw around as he jumped off a 10-foot high platform.
Yeah, exactly. And it was hilarious though for so many members of the other tribes to sit out. Like
Yeah, it was wild to watch. The people who sat out could have formed their own tribe. 6 people
Yes.
sat out of that challenge.
Yeah. So obviously they were forced to do a swap, right? Like they would not have wanted to do this, I would imagine. Or do you think that this was something that they were going to planning on doing anyway, and it just so happened that maybe they moved it up?
If we lost 4?
Do we know?
I'm
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold my tongue until we find out if we're swapping to 2 tribes or not, because that might move things one way or the other. Maybe they thought they were going to do a swap, but maybe we're gonna swap to 3 tribes instead of 2. But because it's 14 instead of 15, now it's like, okay, we can't do 5, 5, 5. So now we go to 2 tribes of 7. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I would hope so. I hope they are starting to shake it up more and not just have it be. We've talked before about how we felt like between 45 and 48, like, oh, okay, this is the break glass in case of emergency thing. Jeff, I think, still insists, like, no, I have a whiteboard in my, in our office of how we map everything out. But this, and listen, if it was unprompted, it certainly was prompted now to say, okay, we have to swap things up, considering that we cannot have a 2-person tribe want a challenge in episode 4.
Mathematically, how does this not 2 tribes of 7?
I mean, I guess you could do like a 5, 5, 4 and then just have one person sit out from, I don't know, red and blue as an example.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it would be silly because, again, I don't know why we would need to keep that 3 tribe vibe. And I think 2 tribes of 7 is interesting. I think also the fact that if this happens, the other 2/3 of the cast that have not been to tribal council in the first week will actually get to vote. And that is really interesting. Why deprive us that opportunity by giving like another 6 or 7 people, hey, you don't need to vote until the merge at this point. You can keep living your relaxing vacation. Watch out for a seed crate. So I really hope it's 2 tribes of 7. If anything, even just to say, hey, we're doing something different. It is unbelievable to say that something different is 2 tribes. But hey, this is a show where people are jonesing for Applebee's. Talk about any port in a storm.
Just to highlight some of the other players, because obviously we spent so much time, with Blue. But I'm looking at the confessional chart, and I noted this because all of a sudden Jason started getting confessionals, which does make me a little bit nervous for him going into the swap, because it was like Jason didn't exist, and now all of a sudden he's got a bunch of confessionals, and we're told how good he is at puzzles, regardless. So Christina, Sophie. Not Sophie, but Sophie, and Matt all had 0 confessional time in this episode. So that's half. That's half. That's crazy. And I mean, I guess technically Steven got 16 seconds of confessional time. So it's not like we're talking a lot, but at the same time, MC only got the confessionals probably because of the Beware advantage, which, what is going to happen with that? Like if they go to merge and their tribe hasn't lost yet, like let's say whomever MC swaps to, what happens? Will she get her vote back?
This happened in 46, remember, with Hunter.
Oh, yes.
Where basically he was told like that morning, like, okay, you have to, like, we unlocked the thing for you. Now you just have to get this task done before. So it still is a little bit of a timeline to it where you had to get it done before they left or everyone came to the merge beach. So I'm assuming that would happen. I mean, I did love MC. Listen, talk about any port to storm. Like, well, Gotta hide it somewhere. Might as well stick this mysteriously wet burlap piece of safety in my unmentionables.
When she was like, I don't know what liquid this is, I got confused for a brief moment about whether or not it was already wet
Oh
or
my god.
there was another because I didn't 100% understand exactly what was happening. But I've always, I mean, you got a pocket to hide things. You might as well just do your best. So but it was funny that that was the regret in retrospect. It's like if you could go back and change one thing about your Survivor experience, it should be like I would wear pants when looking for the beware advantage.
Yeah, though, I guess, does that make things more suspicious, right? Like, the baggier clothes you wear, the more people are like, oh, you're real. If you find something, you're not going to let us know about it, right? Like, arguably, you want to be as open as you can to be like, listen, I got nothing to hide. Though I do think it's ironic. Would Matt, the airport worker, have gone full TSA on MC if he was with her and be like,
Oh,
all right, ma'am, if you could step through right here.
we're gonna pat you down. He's gonna put him on one of those things where you put your arms up and it does the spinny thing at the airport. Yeah, that would have been very funny. I think though, I mean, obviously it was interesting seeing them search for it, but I preferred Uli's search mainly because Nate was just like, we are very bad at this. Like when he was like, I'm bad and my tribe is equally terrible. Nate is becoming one of my favorite confessional givers, and I'm actually really sad that we haven't had more airtime because it all started with vibes last week. It all started with those last week confessionals, and then this one also. I mean, it makes sense. He's a guy in entertainment. Of course, he's going to be entertaining. He knows what makes good cinema. But it's very enjoyable to watch as a viewer.
I agree because he's also, again, like so down to earth. This is not necessarily like the big over the top confessionals you might get. Like, well, I'm bad at looking and my tribe is even worse. Like, he just has such like a nice, very genteel way of saying things that almost makes it even funnier. Like, it's not exactly dry, but it's not as wet as MC's Idol.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. What's the deal with searching for idols?
Well, let's ask what the deal was with our thoughts on these two Canadian gentlemen in the preseason, Liana. It's time for a double edition of our preseason predictions. Let's start with Jake himself. I was going to say Jake the Snake. That feels very inappropriate now.
Yep.
Well, listen, you have worked miracles with these things. I'd be like 97% shocked, Liana, if you said Jake got medevac from getting bit by a snake because you are that good, especially in comparison to myself. But let us open it up and see how dry the bite you take out of Jake is.
I'll tell you, there's like now knowing what happens to him, there's an alliance I would have named differently, but here we are. So I had Jake making the jury. Surprise, surprise. I said Jake took on a natural leadership role at Kelly. You tell me every week. Kella. Okay. Creating a tight duo with Sophie, the sibling alliance. Things were as smooth as they could be for Jake on the Disaster Tribe in pre-jury, but come merge, Jake's leadership style did not mesh with the members of the other two tribes. They humor him and let him think he's running the show, but he's only a strip dancing puppet masking the real axis of power in Sav, Sage, and Sophie, which now I want to call them the Snake Alliance. So I will post prediction, refer to them that way.
Okay.
Eventually their patience runs thin and they send Jake to the jury in a near unanimous vote. Jake wins 0 individual immunities and complains about the challenges each week. I said that his ally was Sophie, Little Sis, and his enemy was the S-axis, is what I called them. Of Sav, Sophie, and Sage.
Wait, you said X. Why did you not do Axis?
Yeah, exactly. S-axis, but we'll call them the Snake Alliance. So his enemy was the Snake Ladies.
Okay. Well, I will say, and I'll admit I surprised myself because I did not remember writing this. I needed Jeff to maybe guide me out, being like, Mike, it's me, Jeff. You said that Jake was going to be voted out in the pre-jury on Survivor 49. So let's see what I had to say. Jake starts off strong, both physically and emotionally. He clocks in with Sophie B from the jump to form a final 2. And when he
Mhm.
saw that smile, that damn smile on Alex, he knew there were 13 reasons why he wanted him.
You predicted the bromance.
He wanted him as an alliance as well. Yeah, maybe not. Dude, why did you make the 13 reasons why? I've edits.
That makes no
I have
sense.
several edits I need to ask of you, Mike Bloom. As the early days go on, Jake begins to struggle, feeling the weight of what's going on back home. He chooses to open up to his tribe about his wife's pregnancy, prompting
Mhm.
simultaneous reactions of, what a man, and what a man. I did write the way to deliver this in the parentheses, so I tried the best of my
Good.
ability here.
It worked.
Thank you. True to his love of Sam Phelan, Jake is the glue guy between Sophie and Alex, being the arbiter of the fates of many a Kella as they keep going back to tribal council. When the merge hits, Jake is rallying the flag for him, Sophie, and Alex to get into enemy territory and set up a power play, but he unfortunately comes up against the assumptions made about him pre-season. With his self-proclaimed douchebag look, Jake is perceived as the one who led the charge on his old tribe. Between this perception, his strength and challenges, and at least one heartwarming story that was made public, it was enough to strip him of any chance of the title of sole survivor. His ally was Sophie and Alex, and his enemy was the preseason.
Oh, okay. So merge, but pre-jury.
Yeah, specifically, I think I wrote that he was like the mergatory boot, that like he
Yes.
gets left unsafe, and they're all like, "There's no one to vouch for you, Jake, and you have too many good things going for you, I suppose, to keep you in the game any longer."
Okay, that makes sense.
What do you
Well, that
think,
was
Pooya?
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I like you saying that makes sense when I'm the one that gets to assign a point here. The thing is, the S-axis was very fun, but like Mike nailed it.
Yeah.
So despite that wild 13 reasons why reference in there, Mike gets the first point of the evening.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
Liana, you get some redemption here before we put it in the deep freeze.
Oh.
As we talk about Jeremiah, the Taurus. Let's see if we're able
Everest
to
climber.
the Everest climber himself. He did say actually that now he is going to Nepal, and he's like, now that I tried that line the first time, I actually have to like send my friends my itinerary to not show that it's not a cover for going on a reality show.
To like prove he is actually going to Nepal. That's so funny.
I mean, that's the problem, is that I feel like if you do this, no one is going to trust you in your life ever again, considering that he told, except for his father, every single person this line. How could you ever trust him?
No, that's so funny. I love that for him.
So I had Jeremiah going pre-merge, pre-jury.
Yeah, okay.
I said with his bubbly personality and infectious laugh, Jeremiah, who's Jeremy, tries to be Kella Tribe's mascot, but it's tougher to keep that flame lit when, fittingly, they have no fire. Jeremiah calls his shot from the pregame. He's feeling far from blue when he sees Sophie B's blue fingernails on his beach and immediately locks in with her. As Jeremiah prepared himself mentally for being on a disaster tribe, he's shown as the one most likely to shake things up as the first couple of routine votes play out. Specifically, after seeing how close Sophie is with Jake, he debates trying to make a move to cut him so he can get closer to her. When Kella gets down to 4, Jeremiah sees the writing on the wall. He goes on a journey where he loses his vote, but chooses to lie that he has an advantage. Unfortunately, his father's advice to talk to the trees so he wouldn't talk to people proved prophetic. Jeremiah reveals he has no vote to Jake so that he can make a move and take out Alex. Not happy with his deception, the fellow Canadian is so turned off that he turns on him. When it came to Survivor School, the Legally Blonde fan graduated without honors, without a girlfriend, and without any job offers.
Oh my God, is this a roast?
His closest ally was Sophie, and his enemy was Jake.
Between the Legally Blonde reference and the 13 reasons why, at least the Legally Blonde one makes sense. Okay, all right, very interesting. So I too had Jeremiah going pre-jury. I said that Jeremiah became our go-to confessionalist for his quick wit and memorable laugh. While he connected with the audience, Jeremiah failed to connect with Jake, who dictated the majority of the votes pre-jury.
Hmm.
After the Jeremiah, Alex, I'm saying Jeremy. Who's Jeremy? Jeremiah, Alex, and Annie alliance ate one of their own. Jake pulled Alex into the sibling alliance. New brother alert, leaving Jeremiah as an only child. I did the same thing, and that's how I was supposed to say it. At Tribal, Jeremiah takes the long hike back to Ponderosa with no Sherpa in sight. His ally was Ja, and his enemy was Jake.
Liana,
What?
you let Mike get 2 points on you tonight.
How dare you?
This is like getting a secret bite. This never happens.
I know, this never happens. You don't like the Ja alliance?
I asked all the podcasters around me, have you ever experienced Mike getting 2 points? And they said they never did.
It has literally never happened. They had to. We're gonna have to ask Australia. All right, fine. Mike can have it. Whatever.
Well,
He saw what a disaster they were.
That's true.
yeah, but this deep? No, not this deep.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Well, he talks to them.
Yeah,
You need to
and
give a handicap. I need a handicap. If you gave me a handicap, would you give me a point?
if I get if giving you a handicap implies that you need to be nerfed. You mean Mike needs to be nerfed?
Yeah, whatever. How that works.
I do
don't
feel
know
like
how
the
that
word
works.
handicap works. Like handicap in golf, right, means like you are giving yourself
get points
extra
already.
strokes.
True.
But I do
Yeah.
feel like sometimes when you say you're handicapping someone, it means like, oh, you're giving them additional sort of things to work against.
Like I need you to give me like 5 points to start with, and then
That is ridiculous.
Okay, fine.
Maybe, just maybe, there is a week where, let's say, for example, now we don't know the rest of your season's results, right? So let's say the Sage boot happens and you're like, I nailed this. You can, before the both of you read your predictions, you can say you're putting down a double point for yours.
Ooh, I like that.
I love this
okay,
advantage.
Let me write that down.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, this is my advantage. Do I have to risk a vote in order to get it?
No, I feel like the risk is
cannot
just
read a prediction
you
at
raw
the next-
dogging it.
Yeah,
next week.
And then I'm gonna steal. I get to steal a prediction. I'm gonna steal one of Mike's.
Oh, I love this idea. Yeah, where it's like,
Okay,
okay,
wait.
now you get to read both predictions.
You can block, you can
Yes.
block one of Mike's
I can
predictions
block
1
a
week.
prediction.
Oh, okay. Can we do a power of veto where we each get the power for 1 week to be like, you can't do anything. You can't read a prediction anymore.
Yeah, I love that.
You know what?
Okay.
This era we've done this for nearly 10 years. It's finally
I
time we
know.
shake things up. We need to
It's
keep
time to
ourselves
new
on our toes.
erify the predictions.
Yeah, exactly. I'd go on a journey. Okay, so I'm down to risk my prediction.
All right. Well, I have a very interesting game, an experimental game, perhaps on the note of the new era to get in with the two of you today. Now, I really, in these past few days, with the extra time I had, was really oscillating between two separate ideas based on specifically the incredibly traumatic event from this episode, which I will continue to say. I was really going back and forth between a game called Whose Toes Are Those?, where I show you a picture of someone's foot from Survivor, and you have to guess who it is. And then I also was thinking about a game called Name That Snake, where I would find a weird snake, and you have to figure out what the title of the species is.
Okay.
I want to look at feet.
Well, I figured we had a double boot. How about double the games?
Oh my
Porque
god.
no los
Why not
dos.
both?
We're doing both. We're going to go back and forth here.
Oh my
where
god.
You'll be
That's
guessing
so funny.
either a foot or a snake, which could have been a third game. Snake or foot.
Snake or a foot. My favorite kind of game. It's people are always talking about cake or not, right? But no, snake or foot, way better.
All right, so how do you want to do this, the two of you? Do you want to work against each other, or would you prefer to talk it out together?
Well, I think since they're going to alternate, I think we should do it together.
Okay. Because I would say
In
the
order
alternative
for
would be that
Liana,
it would be that you both write down your answers separately for each question.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, am I always going to do feet? because that would be weird. Well, Pooya, what do you want to do?
Well, in order for you not to taste defeat a third time, I feel like I'm okay to
Hey.
do it as a team if you want. What? If you want to
All
do
right,
it as a team? Because if we do it as a team, if we do it as a team, just know you're gonna have to hard carry on the snakes, maybe.
Okay,
right.
sure. But can you hard carry on the feet?
Well, I don't know. We'll find
Are you
out, I guess.
an
He is the
expert?
nipple king. We don't know
That's
if
true.
that applies
Yeah,
to other
if Chappelle
appendages.
was here, he would, but I'm not Chappelle, so who knows?
Okay, gotcha.
And I will listen. I guess warnings in advance for anyone who is afraid of snakes or anyone who, again,
Oh my god.
feet might not be that thing. I actually just got a DM from Johnny Bananas. He was listening to the podcast and now wants to come on next week when he heard about this game. So we'll pencil that in for a later date. It's a joke. It's a joke. Okay, so let's get into this game and see if you will be defeated in the end. Let's start with this first foot. Now, I'm not going to leave you completely in the dark here.
Okay.
I've picked pictures that are going to provide some context clues, and I am going to provide you 3 options of
Okay.
people to pick
Okay.
between.
Okay, good. Because, yeah.
So here is your first set of feet.
Oh, that's
Troy's
Sierra
hand?
Dawn Thomas.
I mean, I'll just give it to you. I mean, that was, right off the bat. Tell me what gave it away.
The presence of Troyzan and then the jeans.
Oh, see, I thought maybe you would have recognized she remembered that she had that little heart tattoo on her foot. Because that would have been a very recognizable thing.
Tattoo? Yeah, no. It's all about the jeans.
So yeah, I wanted to again show the full scope of the challenge to be like, okay, it's Troyzan, it's Game Changers. But no, Pooya, listen, you talked down your foot identifying efforts, but so far you have a clean record.
Maybe I should have thrown a little bit. Yeah, maybe I should have waited 5 seconds.
No, it was an immediate blurt. You were immediately blurted out. No,
in my defense, I could see, you know how we're in the StreamYard, I could see the little preview in the bottom, so I could identify Troyzan. So it gave me a couple extra seconds in that regard.
All right. Well, so far, 1 for 1. But let's see if this continues as we move into our first snake. Now, I'd be incredibly intrigued if you know this.
Oh my god.
We'll have the two of you work together here. This is your first snake. And I'll throw these all up online if you want to view them. If you're listening to the audio version, go to bit.ly/why the hell not foot or snake. Let's make this game happen. bit.ly/foot or snake. So this is a snake. I'm going to give you 3 possible names of this snake.
Wait. Is this name going to be the type of snake, or is this someone's pet snake they've named?
I'm not going to give you the name of the person's snake. This Bucky.
This is Charlie. Yeah.
It's giving Percy.
All right. So this snake, Percy, is either a sea lion snake, an elephant trunk snake, or a sleeping bag snake.
Okay.
What do you
think? I have to look at it. Okay, it's not a sea lion snake. To me, it has elephant trunk
energy
ish, yeah. But then I could also see it could it be, am I stupid? Does it not look like it's sitting on a tent? So it could be a sleeping bag snake?
I think the elephant one makes it. That's what I was gravitating towards.
I'm fine with that if it means I don't gotta look at the snake no more.
Okay, Pooya would rather look at feet, so we're gonna go with B, elephant.
Elephant trunk snake.
Right. I will take away the image. And congratulations, because that was correct. It was an elephant trunk snake named because skin is very wrinkly and gray, much like an elephant trunk. And I'm sure, much like an elephant proper, that is an image that you will never forget anytime soon. All right, let's move in to foot number 2.
Okay. Pooya, this time wait a little bit before you yell out.
I'm not looking at the preview, so I'm gonna not have extra time.
All right. Whose feet are these? Are these the feet of Andrea Belke, Ashley Underwood, or Natalie Tenorelli?
My technical question for you.
Please.
Were these on a website preloaded that you took on, or did you go through footage to find feet?
Great question. No, I really like to thank the hardworking people on the website WikiFeet who put in the yeoman's work to, again, this game is not to yuck anyone's yum, but they have gone through and collated some rather invigorating shots of people's tootsies. And granted, I don't know if they knew they'd be used for this game proper, but hey, waste not, want not.
I feel like they'd be
Exactly.
okay with it.
Can you read what that says on the side, Pooya?
I
The
tried. I
letters?
really can't. There's the letter. I want to say it's the letter P in between the two poles there, but I can't be sure. And then there's an A at the end.
See, okay, my gut when he read the options was Nat 10, but I don't know if that was just a gut reading. I don't know if that's actually accurate.
Remind me, which season is Ashley Underwood from?
Wait, what do you mean? Oh, like 30 something, right? What season was she on? I don't remember.
Liana
not
didn't expect
good
to be
with
tested on her
names.
survivor knowledge in a feat
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah, exactly. Redemption Island.
Okay, Redemption Island. She's from Redemption Island.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they're all from Redemption Island. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay, that's interesting. You know, I feel like I think I'm gonna go with Nat 10 also.
Okay, Natalie Tenorelli
Yeah.
is your final answer. And unfortunately, the amount of points you got from this question is the same amount of votes you got at Final Tribal Council, which is 0. That is incorrect. It is Andrea Belke. Maybe standing alongside Sarah Dawn Thomas in that first image, but these are her feet on Survivor Redemption Island.
I didn't think that was her bathing suit. That's what I was trying to go off of, because no
That's
offense to their
exactly
feet, but
what broke it for me as well.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine. That's fine. You know what? You win some, you lose some. Okay. We're not phased, right, Pooya?
Yes. We are not phased.
This image might phase Pooya because we have a snake coming up. Here is snake number 2.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him.
All right.
Are those antenna or teeth?
What a great question, because this is something that is referenced in this snake's name.
Snail snake.
Is this the 2-prong snake, the catfish snake, or the tentacle snake?
I think it's one of the first two.
I think it's the second one. What was the second one?
It is the 2-prong snake, the catfish snake, or the tentacle snake.
I think it's the catfish snake. The 2-pronged snake just sounds like something I'll never Google, first of all. But then secondly, could be fraudulent. I think catfish.
Sure. We'll go with the catfish snake.
You got catfished by the catfish snake. That is incorrect. How foolish you were to dismiss the tentacle snake right off the bat. That's the name of the snake. It's the tentacle snake.
No way.
Yeah, because I think there maybe this sort of appendages coming out from it are meant to be tentacles.
It's like alien.
See, I thought it's because that snake is funny. Tentacles.
Oh.
I cannot wait for the people who will take out their AirPods during that 5-second pause to be like, did the podcast stop? Is it broken?
Did I hit pause accidentally?
So thank you, Pooya, for that. Again, very incredible once-in-a-lifetime moment. All right.
Yes. Okay.
Foot
More
number
feet, baby.
3. And I will, you don't need to go to Survivor Wikipedia for this one. I will start revealing who the season is from, because they all sort of have a thematic one to them for each one of these questions. So these are the feet of a contestant from Survivor Borneo. 50 million people watched this feat over the course of the summer of 2000. But whose toes are those? Is it Colleen Haskell's? Is it Jenna Lewis? Or is it Kelly Wigglesworth?
I'm happy you specified. I was going to think Marquesas at first because of all the bites.
No nose.
No nose. All right, Pooya, what do you think?
Who would wear an anklet of
I know.
those 3?
What were the options? Jenna was one of them?
Jenna, Colleen, and Kelly.
Doesn't Jenna give anklet vibes?
Yes, but so does Kelly.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. I'm also trying to pay attention to the fingies.
The fingies. Oh, like the up top, not the toe fingies.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie, that ain't gonna do much for me. Like, I'm not gonna be able to solve the puzzle that way. So if you have any insight, I will take it.
My gut was Jenna, but just because of
And-
anklet vibes.
And you know what? Your gut is right half of the time. So let's go with Jenna.
All right, you have locked in Jenna Lewis, and while we'll see her on Survivor 50,
Aw.
we will not be seeing her feet in this picture. This was the feet of Kelly Wigglesworth.
Liana!
Sorry. You
It's
should have
fine.
listened to you, not me.
These are
You're
39
better
day
at
feet. These are 39-day feet at this point. These
Yeah.
26-day contestants, they don't know what 39-day feet look like.
Imagine what Dee's toe would have looked like if she had gone the full 39
Yeah,
days.
I was thinking about D's foot, but I think it was tough to come up with not D answers, right? To
Yeah.
be like, is it D?
Yeah.
And you're just like, you're gonna stop me right there and say, no, it's D. Like you would have
Yeah.
been to D what Pooya was to Sierra Dawn Thomas.
Yeah, exactly. That big toe is not gonna fool anybody.
All right. Well, let's see if I can fool you. Hit a little bit of a cold streak right now, but hey, listen, still got time to make it up with this next snake.
Oh, look how cute.
Ooh.
So is this little cutie called a dragon snake, a stegosaurus snake, or a hydra snake?
Ooh.
All right. I'd hate to have us have a tentacle issue again, but I don't think it's the Stegosaurus snake. It has
Okay.
scaly dragon-esque skin, and I say this as someone who's watched the Game of Thrones properties. It does have that kind of skin.
Okay.
But Hydra also could match that energy, and this looks like the location looks like there would be a Hydra there, and that might just be the lost in me speaking. So that's kind of where I'm at with these two options. But what do you think?
Okay, my gut was dragon, but I think we trusted my gut last time and that went poorly. So let's do Hydra.
Okay.
We are going to go with dragon. We're locking in dragon.
Hydra.
No, dragon.
Okay. I need an answer.
Dragon.
Whichever one's right is
It's
our answer.
dragon.
The ultimate hedge that I will give to you because, again, we'll warm up the cold streak a little bit. It was dragon. It was the dragon snake.
Yay! We did it!
And this is like going full toothless right now.
I did it. You wanted to go with Hydra.
Because I was trying to support you.
No, but I supported me. Us.
I believe in you. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We're back on the board, baby.
All right. Well, for the second half of this game, we will go back to back with the snakes here
Oh.
as
Ooh.
we get into our next one.
Oh, it looks like a leaf.
Oh, that's scary. That can hide in plain sight.
All right. Well, is this Mike Gabler of
Gabler?
snakes a needle nose snake, a leaf nose snake, or a Pinocchio snake?
Was the second one a leaf nose?
Leaf nosed snake.
Okay. What's your gut
Okay.
telling you? Because my gut's saying it's A only.
What was A? The needle nose?
Needle nose
Yeah.
snake.
See, I said it looked like a leaf, which means that if Mike could come up with a fake name, it would be Leaf because that's what it looks like. But also, that's what it looks like. So that's what
You
they could
know-
have named it.
But you know what? What snakes famously don't have is noses.
Do snakes have noses?
No.
So,
Okay, what did you say, Pooya?
I said the needle nose.
Needle-
No, I said the. Really cussed. What was the first one? That one.
it was needle nose, leaf nosed, Pinocchio.
Oh, so they both have noses anyway. My argument collapses on itself when I'm picking one that has nose in it also. So, first of all, I would like to air how terrifying it is to find out that snakes can look like this and hide. So that's not going to help.
Wait, why is it hiding? No one said it's hiding.
It looks like a tree branch. It looks fraudulent.
Oh, that should have been a name I came up with. Branch snake.
Yeah.
Branch snake
If
was
not
like
for
that.
the eye that is so clearly HD in this, I would not have been able to tell.
Okay, so you want to go needle nose?
If you would allow me to.
Sure, I allow you.
Okay.
Well, you were sniffing around the right answer, but it was the wrong answer. It was the leaf nose snake.
God damn it!
gotta back your gut
Ah!
sometimes, Liana.
I know. Okay,
When
we're
you
trusting
said
our
it
gut
looks
on the
like a
wrong
leaf, when I
ones.
tell you the sweat, I
Yeah.
sweated.
It does. It looks like a leaf.
Yeah, so that's the whole point,
Stupid
that the
leaf
head
snake.
looks like a leaf, and to Puya's fright, it does,
Yeah.
mask itself for that reason.
Wild.
Yes.
Also, you never said this, but I'm assuming these are not all available in Fiji.
No, these are
Okay.
all around the world, so good luck
Okay.
traveling, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All
They're
right,
hiding
well,
in plain sight, just like
luckily,
Gabler.
we're getting back to the safe haven of feet.
Oh, thank God.
The Shangri-La of arches and heels.
Okay.
Here is your next foot. Whose toes are those? Are these
Ooh.
Danielle DiLorenzo's? Are these Amanda Kimmel's? Or are these
Mm.
Parvati Shallows?
This is the Parvati emote of standing while only having one half of your foot on the thing.
This is her
Yeah,
aura
like
farming. Her
Yeah.
when she
Fortnite dance.
stood off to the
Exactly.
side. Because
But
that's
it's
her
off
left
to the
foot
side.
on the thing. Yeah, but it's when she do the thing where she like steps on the side and holds on like
Yeah,
that.
she's just hugging it like a little sideways
Yeah.
hug. Yeah. But like, I don't think this is her. Also, look at the toe, the big thumb toe. It has a little like
Mhm.
red on it.
That's toenail polish.
Yeah, but only the toe has it. Does that give us any clue?
Yeah, what Survivor player is notorious for only painting their big toe?
So
What
like
did you
having
call
the
it?
one
Your big
earring.
thumb? Yeah. Well, okay, who are our options? Parv, Danielle DeLorenzo, and Amanda.
Yeah.
Did anybody else do that during the challenge?
I feel like you at least tried it. And then we're like, nah, this is just for stretching. I'm going back into formation. Because look at these specific, because here's my argument that it's not Parv. If it was Parv, wouldn't there be a better version of it than this elapsed time screenshot? Right? Like, because there was more of that moment, but also
I've never paid
arguably,
attention.
yeah, same. But
Do you remember
arguably
if she was
then
on the green one? Oh my God, I have no memory
see
of
in my
this.
head, and this might be wild. I feel like she was on like a purple one.
Okay, so if it's not Parv, then who do you think it is?
I don't know why. I think Amanda would have been on the green one. But of the three, this is not Amanda's foot the most, I think. So I'm because okay, let's lock in Amanda.
Weirdo.
Let's lock in Amanda.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm trying to like really think about this.
Okay. You know, I appreciate that. All right, we're locking in Amanda.
Do you? Because you called me a weirdo.
Yes, and I stand by that. But I also appreciate it.
You knew that was a leaf nose snake. Who's the weirdo in this house now?
All I said was it looks like a leaf.
I'm so happy about this because y'all were doing the mental calculus for 1 + 1. The answer is Parvati.
Ah! We had it.
Yeah, I think she
pose.
was the only one who stood like that.
Yes, it was. She was the only one that
Yeah.
did the
But it looked like a cutscene. Like someone could have stretched in a cutscene. Like that wasn't like parallel. Anyway,
I love it.
Ugh.
I love it.
can't wait to get
No,
roasted in the comments over that one.
Okay, let's bring in our next snake here. Give me just 1 second. I
Mhm.
gotta just zhuzh it up a little bit. There we go.
We're judging.
Well, this is actually this might be my favorite snake. This is a very pretty snake.
Aw.
Here is your next.
I hope it's a
snake.
secret. I know what that looks like. Oh, he's pointy. Pointy boy.
The hedgehog snake.
A very pointy snake. So, is this snake the fuzzy tree viper, the feathered sea viper, or the hairy bush viper?
Nope. Is that the name of a snake?
Sometimes you forget you're on a pod, and that laugh was very much a, I'm not on a pod laugh.
Okay, I like the viper one.
They're
So
all
viper
vipers.
one was one I thought of too, but then I think the feathered sea snake was it sea? Was it feathered water? Sea? What was it?
So it is. They're all vipers. Just to clarify, it
Yeah.
is fuzzy tree viper, feathered
Mhm.
sea viper, hairy bush viper.
So I like feathered sea, Liana, because it looks wet.
But it doesn't look like a snake that goes in the ocean. So I don't
It
think it
does
would be
not.
called a
This-
sea. It
That's
looks like
fair.
it's in a tree.
I think the first one makes the most sense.
Yeah.
In the event this is the hairy bush snake, Viper, we will have conversations to have after this. I mean,
Okay,
after this, I
great.
mean right after Mike reveals, not like off the pod, because I'm never
Sure.
talking about snakes again.
Well, I
Okay,
guess
we're
I'm,
going with A.
guess I'm gonna have to book some time on the pod for you to talk it out. It
Harry
is
Bush.
the Hairy Bush Viper.
I blame Omar for this somehow. Like he
How
came
has
up
he
with his
never
name.
brought this up?
It's so cute though. Look at its little head. It's
Every,
so cute.
I'm not gonna lie, this is the cutest of the snakes we've
Did
seen.
I not? Listen,
Yeah.
I wasn't.
It's
I
adorable.
wasn't whistling Dixie here when I say HBV was my favorite.
Yeah. Let's go HBV. Yeah, they need more of these snakes on those B rolls of Survivor. Although I guess if this isn't an in Fiji, then maybe they don't have any.
Exactly.
But it's very cute.
All right. Well, unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to HBV, which you should do as well if you get your vaccines, people. All right, let's go to our final set of feet,
Okay.
folks. Whose toes are those?
What is this from?
Are these Jerry Manthi's feet? Are these Amber Burkich Mariano's feet? Are these Elizabeth Hasselbeck's feet?
Is this The View?
What? It's on ABC.
It's
Is
The
The View
View.
on
I'm pretty
ABC?
sure it's The View. We'll find out shortly. Okay, so
We're
all the
getting
names are
a
from
view right now. Yes.
Yeah, they're from season 2, right? And this lines up with Survivor was at its peak popularity, so they were doing talk shows and stuff. And what are they admiring? Do you think it's like a look what happened to my foot on the island, or is it a check out the nail polish I did? Either way, you shouldn't be putting your feet on the table like that at a talk show. I think it's not okay. So wait, there was Jerry, Amber. Who was the third?
Elizabeth.
I think it's Elizabeth.
Is it?
It is. Elizabeth Hasselbeck.
Yay!
This is her feet. And yes, you cracked my code, Mr. Policeman. This is on The View. You can see Joy Behar.
Yes.
I'm assuming that's Star Jones in the Lakers jersey.
Yeah.
And for some godforsaken reason on the show, Elizabeth Hasselbeck pulled out her feet and honked them on the table for everyone to admire.
Okay, but it's interesting because they're not even paying attention to her feet. They're reading that piece of paper.
No.
Or at least that's what it looks like.
Oh, that's what
Right?
you would do if you were in that situation. I think that's why you're mistaking that.
Reading, staring at
You'd be
feet.
like, data points? All right, never mind this foot here. Let me just lock in for a second.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
am-
well, I'm glad we ended on a high note.
I mean, I am really intrigued by the circumstances of this, though, right? Like, because is this post-Survivor, pre her hosting, where it's like, let me show you how effed up my feet were from the experience? Was it like, oh, I got a new mannequin and Behar's like, put them on, let's see it.
Throw them up there. But it's not like she's showing her toes to the audience, right?
No.
Like they're still facing towards her. So yeah, this was an odd choice. But thank you, Wiki Feet, for having this.
Those feet are way too close to that coffee cup.
That's a
I know.
great point. I mean, I don't know if there's actually coffee in there, but if so, yeah, I'm again, not to yuck anyone's yum. I would be saying yuck to the, dark roast that was probably lying next to Elizabeth's feet during this particular shot. I do have one more snake for you. Let's close it out here. But you did get all the feet have been expended, so we must end on a snake, and it is the most
Chris
dangerous.
Underwood.
Yeah, unfortunately, no. We started with Troy Zan. Would have been nice to close out with that. Real, I would say bookend, but Eiffel Tower might be more appropriate. But let's get into our final snake here, and it is the most dangerous one. This is a venomous snake, not unlike the sea crate.
Oh, the puffer snake.
Tail?
Is this snake the spider-tailed viper, the pine-tailed viper, or the mace-tailed viper?
Ooh.
It does look like a pine cone.
What came first, the mace or the mace-tailed viper? You know what I mean?
Is,
like, I don't
is
think
this a setup for a joke?
No, I just don't think it's the mace-tailed viper.
Tentacles.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to make sure I get it this time. He looks like a pine cone.
The tail looks more pine coney than it does spidery. But
like,
then
even
I guess
his tails look like a pine cone.
Mike, can I ask you a question? You don't have to answer
Sure.
if it's part of the game. Are you making fake names in the middle of these, or are they all authentic snake names?
Nope, they are all made up names except for the real one.
Oh,
As far as I know,
he
for
could have made it up. See,
for
but this
all
is
I
the issue
know.
with the leaf snake because I was like, it looks like a leaf, and then I was like, does it look like a leaf?
yeah,
So
but do you
Mike
get?
would have come up with.
But does Mike let you get it like that twice? Where you're
I
like,
never.
oh, that's clearly a pine cone.
Well, it looks like a pine cone to me, is what I'm saying.
I feel like pinecone is right because I think maces were probably not invented before the snake happened. And then the first one was what, spider? That feels like a Mike created one. So I'm fine to back you on this.
All
And
right,
then
let's just go pine
yeah.
cone.
We are going pine cone. 'Tis the season, right? Holidays are just around the corner.
Aw.
Now, I guess to showcase the answer of this, let me show you what this tail looks like in a very different setting. Hold on, hold for attention.
It's gonna look
I
like a
have to
spider.
judge this
I
up as
know.
well. I don't even know what you're talking about. No,
He
it'll
looks
just
like a pine
it will
cone.
look like a pine cone, absolutely for sure, and it definitely will not
Yep.
look like a
Yep.
spider.
Yep. Okay. You know what? But doesn't he look like a pine cone?
I did have to pick the least spider tail looking photo of the spider-tailed viper, to be fair.
Yeah. But that's a thing where like snakes will have their tail be the bait, right? And then
Yep.
like they'll so that should have been our giveaway. That why would like what goes after pine cones that like the snake would want to emulate? You know what I mean?
Children looking to make bird feeders.
Yeah, right, exactly. He's like, and he puts his own peanut butter on there. It's just goes for it.
Beware, small children. The bird feeder tails vipers coming for all your
Yeah.
third grade craft projects.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, your first grade arts and crafts.
All right.
It looks like a spider. Fine.
Well, listen, regardless, you two made the grade here. This was a very difficult game, let
Mhm.
alone one to play in two different areas. I would say you
Mhm.
succeeded with aplomb here. Definitely no defeat today. So congratulations to the two of you. Pooya, I
Thank you.
promise you, at least firsthand, you will not need to see or think about another snake again for at least the next 3 months.
And I do appreciate that. I will say though, some of those snakes were easier to look at than other snakes as far as fear
I like the
goes.
hairy bush one.
But what about the snakes though?
Yeah. All right. Well, to finish things off, then
Anyway.
we will keep the spotlight on the jokester himself, Pooya, because of course, at the end of the B&B, we always want to give our guests the opportunity to highlight a charity or cause that is important to them. Obviously, this episode showed that there can be some very dire circumstances out there while we goof it up talking about this silly show. So, is there something that you would like to highlight for the listeners out there?
Yeah, I ended up picking a charity that is a lot more overarching in one specific area, and that is the American Cancer Society. With it being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but also cancer holistically, fuck cancer. So
Yeah.
I feel like this was a simple yet important decision for me.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, as always, Pooya, for coming on, especially after it was a long weekend for us all. I think we were all feeling as drained as Kella by the end of it, but such a fun time. Special shout out to anyone who, came to the live show that got to talk with us. They're always such incredible experiences. To Pooya's point, even when we're sitting through a very intriguing episode of Survivor, it's you all that make this stuff so intriguing to talk about in the first place as you listen to our jibber jabberings. But of course, people want to listen to more jibber jabberings from the man himself, Pooya, there's plenty going on in your neck of the woods. So what would you like to plug?
Oh yeah, well, I feel like let's go socials, then go podcast. So at Pooyaism on all socials, twitch.tv/Pooya for when I'm not podcasting. With podcast right now, I just kicked off my Celebrity Traders UK coverage with Annabelle. It was a very fun first 2 episodes. We talked all about that, so make sure you check that out. Traders Canada is coming next week. So 2 seasons, UK and Canada combined back to back same month. I'll be there for both. So that's going to be fun as well. Be on the lookout for that. Talking 90 Day Fiance this week. We're catching up with the first 6 episodes of The Other Way since I decided to make the switch over from Happily Ever After, because turns out I was not happy in that place. So we're going to find happiness in The Other Way and see how that goes. And of course, myself and Liana every week talking and saying things on the... Wait, you know what? yes, check out the Pooya and Liana Lounge. Mike, let me ask you this question.
Okay.
Could Liana be, and Liana, don't give anything away. Do you think Liana could make a good criminal?
Okay. Like, the answer would be to an extent. Like, I think Liana would be very good at planning out
Yes.
the schematics of a crime. I don't know why my mind's automatically going to crime like a heist, right? Like, if there are
Yeah,
things to
sure.
plan out, logistics, getaway cars,
Mhm.
itineraries, synchronize your watches. I feel like that's Liana. I think where
Mhm.
things fall apart a bit is if you were to get caught and you were to be put in some sort of interrogation room, where whether it be a good cop or a bad cop, you would cop to what you did.
Yep.
Just inevitably.
Yep, I agree. Liana should stay in the scheming and far away from the heist itself. But check out what Liana thought about that answer over on the lounge this past week.
All right, Liana, I'll give you the opportunity to speak on it. Anything you want to plug from the pal or otherwise?
I just want to say that I believe in myself wholeheartedly and I support me. Okay. But no, definitely check out the pal. It was very, very fun. We did, I teased it last week, but we did do our lie detector test, which was very amusing. So 10 out of 10 would recommend.
All right, absolutely check that out. And definitely more of the pal, because I imagine y'all are going to recap all the stories that came from this past week as well. Of course, follow everything I'm doing. I got the chance to talk with both Jake and Jeremiah, obviously. Brought a lot of great stuff. Jake we got into his head for everything that was going down during that time. A bit more of a looking behind the curtain as to the stuff that we didn't see from this wild incident. And Jeremiah, I got to ask why he asked Nicole to spit in his face in the middle of a challenge. So really answering questions all around. That's what I do as an intrepid survival journalist. So check that out. And of course, Talking the Amazing Race 38 with Jessica Lees. And then also did a very special podcast this past weekend where I got together with Melissa Denny to get her thoughts as a devout Big Brother cornerstone about her thoughts on this Big Brother themed season and her thoughts on it as we sort of pass our own milestone as well, getting past the first quarter of that. But the milestone we're much more looking forward to right now is the inevitable swap. But if you have any thoughts or games you want us to play around this switch, around what might be coming down the pike, you know what to do. RHAPBNB@gmail.com or use the hashtag RHAPBNB on social media. If this week is any indication, we are open for business when it comes to game ideas. I did some sort of odd Anna Kendrick mashup of a foot identification game and a snake identification game. The bar is in hell, people, much like Pooya was having to look at those snakes half of the time. So let us know your thoughts in the comments about this episode. What are you looking forward to about the swap most? Which snake did you like the most? Which one would you want to have as a pet? Otherwise, thanks to everybody behind the scenes at RHAP for podcasting this, for bringing this podcast to your eyes and your ears for your listening and viewing pleasure. Liana, Pooya, thank you both so much. As always, the most preeminent power couple at RHAP. I'm so excited to get the opportunity to talk with the two of you and to have you get to figure things out. This is like a depraved version of the Newlywed Game as you all tried to get on the same page about feet and snakes, and I don't know how to feel about it, but I do know that I'll be feeling extra excited about our guests next week. Just a bit of a heads up, we are going to be recording a little bit later in the week again. I'm going to be recording probably on Monday. I will say the guest is worth it. They all are, but hopefully you will enjoy it and it will be worth the wait. So until then, everybody, thank you again so much for listening. We'll check you out at your next stay.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.